Today's Toy Spot, we are having a look at the brand new NECA Toys Batman Begins 7-inch Christian Bale Batman. Not the first time, actually, that NECA has released a Christian Bale Batman, but if you remember, it was the very tall, I think it was like 18-inch Batman or so. Now we're getting a 7-inch version of this character. It doesn't happen very often. Unfortunately, as I mentioned before, the wrong companies always end up handling movie properties. I always think to myself, why can't NECA just get it? Why can't NECA just get it? So when these do come out, they don't happen all the time, but when they do, the collecting world goes ablaze. Everybody wants to get their hands on these. And previous mentioned characters, some of the cooler 7-inch figures that they've released of properties like the Batman properties and stuff like that. They've released Christopher Reeve Superman. They've released the Heath Ledger Joker. Of course, an '89 Michael Keaton Batman. And they also released the Adam West Batman. So again, it doesn't happen very often, but when they do, I mean, as soon as I saw these were available, I definitely had to order these. And I had to unfortunately order it online. eBay was the only way I could really get these guys because Canada sucks sometimes when it comes to getting these things in stores. The packaging carries this same yellow motif as we've seen with Batman Begins merchandise when the movie was out, including a very super stylized version of Christian Bale down below. The side of the box features also an image of the figure. That's actually the figure. That's not Christian Bale's Batman. Well, it is Christian Bale's Batman, but you know what I mean. Same thing with the back on the back of the packaging here. A read-up says, as a child, Bruce Wayne watched his parents murder in the streets of Gotham City. After searching the world for answers to injustice, he returned to the city he loved to restore it to its grandeur. The task is larger than a mere man can accomplish, so Wayne assumes the guise of Batman to battle the forces that are destroying Gotham's soul. Includes 2 sets of hands, 2 different batarangs, grapnel gun, and gun clip. To check out more from the folks over at NECA, make sure you head over to www.necaonline.com. Spot's going to take a break and get this opened up. When we come back, though, we're going to get a better look at the brand new NECA Toys 7-inch Batman Begins Batman. Which more anyway, guys, don't go anywhere. All right, so now that we've got Batman Begins Batman out of packaging, why don't we have a look at some of the accessories first, then we'll have a look at the figure itself. For starters, he comes with his grapnel gun. Every time I look at this gun, it always seems like it's overly short to me. But then again, I watched the movie and it seems right. It seems right. It just seems really short, you know, really, really short. But it's colored in a nice kind of caramel gold color. Very much the carryover for most of his motif is this black and that kind of brownish gold color. Some black there also added to the handle and to the top portion of his grapnel gun. Very, very nice. He doesn't currently have the ability to hold it. Oh no, not yet. But he does come with interchangeable hands. I'll show you those in a second. I guess also as well, he has the clip that can go onto his utility belt. And I've always struggled, whether it be the Hot Toys releases of these guys or the larger releases of these guys, I can never quite get the clip in place to hold properly the grapnel gun. It always seems like it wants to fall off, or I feel like I'm putting it on the wrong way. It just doesn't always sit perfectly. I feel as if, too, there is a section to house a batarang on here as well, because the reason why I say that, there is a very small... I feel like I'm going to drop it, but there's a very small batarang there, which again makes me think it should clip somewhere onto the top, but it's so very small. Oh my goodness, it's so small. Let me just put Batman right there. Let's fix his cape so he doesn't look too silly. Why I say he comes with a very small batarang is he comes with a larger one as well, suited for him holding in his hand. And then again, he's got this really, really tiny, I'm going to drop this. It's so very small. I'm gonna have to start doing reviews with tweezers. But there's the small batarang. Hopefully I'm not covering the light here. There's the small batarang. There's the larger batarang. This one he holds. This one again. Oh, there's a better idea. You know how small that is? Again, makes me think it should clip somewhere onto his utility belt clip. but there's really not a lot of clearance, and I looked everywhere else on the belt and I didn't see a section for it unless this flips this way like that. But again, it doesn't give you much clearance to clip into proper placement, because I thought like this little section here would clip onto the trigger portion of the grapnel blaster, which it appears to. But again, just trying to get it to line up to his belt. There's very, very little clearance to work with. It's not NECA necessarily that I would critique for that. It's just overall how this Batman, even like, again, the larger 6 scale figures and the 18-inch figure, there we go, got it into place. A struggle, yes, quite an indeed a struggle involved. All that, I'm just only going to take it off anyways. Then we've got Batman. I just dropped the small batarang. Then we've got the Batman itself, which does also come with a pair of interchangeable hands, as he's currently holding nothing. I mentioned he's got closed fists. He does have closed fists. We can go ahead and wiggle the hands off the pegs. There we go. And attach the corresponding, or the hand that you want to use, in there. And then we can take the grapnel gun, take it off that clip, and we can fit it into his hand like that. And you know, you're gonna have him, Batman, shooting off the grapnel from his gun, or you can have him holding the batarang with the other interchangeable hand that has a very, very small little notch in there. And actually, sure enough, I think I actually dropped the larger batarang. Hold on one second. Yes, I think Spotnik's going to have to start investing into a pair of tweezers for some of these small accessories. Either that, or my fingers are getting bigger, which I don't think is possible, but I don't know, could very well be. But there's the batarang in Batman's other interchangeable hand, if you want to display Batman with that. Alright, so after all that, all those accessories, let's remove the grapnel gun. We'll put that to the side as well. Let's have a look at Batman. This is a stunning looking Batman. Truthfully, the larger 18-inch Batman that we also had to look at too was also a very good Batman. The only problem, he just was too big. And when I did the review of him, sure enough, I got comments down below. Well, Spot, do you hate the larger quarter scale figures? Well, I don't. They are perfectly fine figures. They're just big. They're just too big to be putting on display. I mean, you get 3 or 4 of those going, that basically takes up your whole entire shelf. More and more, I think that I like the smaller 7-inch figures just because you get the same level of detail and you can fit more of them on the shelf. And while I did like the larger Batman Begins Batman, I think my preference again is more so in this size personally. Face-wise, it looks great. I mean, NECA continues to really argue the point for anyone who wants to get a high-end collectible. Should not overlook the idea of getting an action figure from NECA. Just because it's a figure doesn't mean you're not going to get a level of detail that you would only think to find with the higher-end collectible figures. Primarily, his outfit is a more, and again, I love this outfit more so. The Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises Batman, I don't really like that outfit. I always liked more so the Batman Begins outfit because it had a more finished look to it. It looked more like a bat suit rather than just bat plates, like armor plates on a suit. He's got a very long flowing cape as well, which gives you a good wingspan. Look at the considerable, you know what, we'll put him right there. Let's see if we can spread his wings out. Yeah, that's a good wingspan. Not to say that there's really a means to do that. I guess if you could kind of have the figure's arms out and he could be holding the cape up, but certainly not to that wingspan. Let's just move actually the cape out of the way and just have a look again at the sculpt on the chest. There's the big bat logo, which really felt like it got lost in the Dark Knight and Dark Knight Returns Batman. I like it's very much still a focal point on the Begins suit. I love the torso area here. Now again, I'm just right now listing through reasons why I like the Begin suit. But I mean, like NECA releasing this guy, it very faithfully captures how the Batman Begins suit looked. And you know what? We never really focused too much efforts on the face. I know I mentioned that NECA still gives us a high-end collectible at an action figure price. The face sculpt on that, uncanny, very much Christian Bale. The eyes come across a slight bit cross-eyed. I don't know if it's maybe just me seeing it, but it looks like this one eye is a little too closer to the nose area as opposed to being further out. The flesh color is done nicely as well. The sculpt on the ears, very nice side profile too. And then again, we move back here. We can flip the cape over. There's the bat butt, a little flat bat butt there, Christian Bale. And the armor plates on the back of his torso there as well. He's got his gauntlets on the side in a nice shiny black paint, which also has a shiny black paint in the boot section as well. More like a mesh print on the side, but the shinier front, like shin guards, that match that same black paint as the gauntlets here. When it comes to his posability, let's kind of go through that together. His head is on a ball joint. Yes, indeed, it is a ball joint. It moves up and down. I kind of like to have my Batman Begins Bale kind of just brooding, and I bring the cape forward. I've done that usually with a lot of my Batman Begins pieces, but I try to just bring the cape forward, just have a very brooding Batman on display. I'll probably do that the same with this NECA version of him as well. But for the rest of this, we'll just move the cape back. Arms hinge out. This is probably the only area that's a little more restricted for me. The arms do move forward and back, but from an out standpoint, that seems to be as far out as I can get them. As I'm moving them, I feel like there's resistance. And that makes me think, Spot, you better stop before those arms break. So that's about as far out as I can get them. It's not to say that the arms can't go further out. I can't get them past that point. He doesn't have a bicep swivel. Instead, they opted to give him a swivel in his forearm, where he does also have a bend back and forth. His upper torso is on a ball joint, appearing to have no waist articulation at all. He does have still a concealed joint, which is what NECA does with a lot of their pieces, where this is a rubber appliance that's gone over the joint. You can't see them other than just, you can see the curved area where it's covered over his legs. The legs move forward and back. They move out considerably, at least this one leg. This other leg, little on the stiffer side, but you can get a bat splits. And there's the undercarriage of what the legs look like or how they're constructed. You also have a bend at the knee, a rotation also on the lower leg. And this particular Batman doesn't have much in the way of an ankle pivot. It moves up and down slightly, but not too much. So there, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, is the 7-inch version of Christian Bale's Batman. Really everything that you liked so much about the taller version figures, just scaled down. So painful. It's a reminder to me again that the wrong companies sometimes get these properties in hand. You get the likes of a Mattel, and Mattel, to their testament, does good things as well. But truthfully speaking, when it comes to movie properties, don't you think NECA really should be handling properties like this and not someone that just really is mass producing retail peg figures that ultimately just don't sell? I wish NECA could do more of these. Again, we have large version figures that NECA has already done. If they can only scale them down. And one I'm thinking of right off the bat is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figures that are glorious. They're beautiful figures, but they're just way too big. I want to get around to reviewing those, but you know, if they could get something like that going and scale them down to this is what we're talking about. You know, it's perfectly fine to like the 18-inch figures. Me personally, if you can get that design and that sculpt a figure to this scale, I'm all the more reason to pick these up. And that's probably one of the reasons why I just don't do as many of the quarter scale figures, just because they are so big. This is a beautiful figure. This is the kind of figures I wish we could have gotten at the beginning of Batman Begins and not, not subsequent years later. Fine job though, NECA. Fine job. I'm so glad I was able to pick this guy up. Today's toy spot, we were looking at the Batman Begins. This is the Batman Begins 7-inch Christian Bale figure from the folks over at NECA. Yes, they did a 7-inch version of Christian Bale. He's right here. This is basically what you've been looking at for the last 10 minutes or so. Stay tuned, guys. Spot's going to have lots more videos heading your way. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.